Hello everyone, good morning. Myself God Manisha, an educator from Gajera Vidyabhavan, Sachin. Today in this video, we'll be learning about figure of speech. Figure of speech is a word or a phrase which possesses legal separate meaning which is different from its presented meaning. Mis- uh, Figure of speech is also used to create effectiveness and to give dramatic effect to the poem. So we'll study the figure of speech one by one with example. So our first we'll study the meaning of figure of speech. Knowing figure of speech helps you better understand a poem or story. In other words, it helps you read between the lines. As we earlier studied what is figure of speech, now let's see its example one by one. Hyperbole, an obvious exaggeration intended to amuse or used for emphasis. Hyperbole is generally used to exaggerate the meaning of the sentence. For example, I have been waiting for ages. It is clear that no one be waiting till ages, but here in the example itself it is given that I have been waiting for ages, which means it has been exaggerated. Next example is I ate a ton of chips for lunch. No one will be eating tons of chips, which means here eating a chips has been exaggerated in eating tons of chips. Our next figure of speech is alliteration. Here, alliteration is the repetition of the same or similar sounds at the beginning of words, or we can also say that it is a repetition of consonant sound. For example, she sells by the seashore. Here the word s repeated thrice, like she sells seashells. So, here it is a repetition of similar and consonant sounds. Next example is I am the living legacy to the leader of the band. Here legacy and leader, here the sound L is repeated twice. So alliteration is basically the repetition of same, similar or consonant sound at the beginning of the words. Our next figure of speech is metaphor. Now metaphor is a comparison, or we can say it is an indirect comparison between two things by saying one thing is another, and also it does not use the words like or as. Here comparison is made, but there is a in comparison, like he was a lion in battle. Now he is compared with the lion. Here the comparison is between a person and a lion, but the comparison is not direct, it is an indirect comparison. And also the second example is her coal black hair. Obviously the her hair cannot be coal. Here just there is a comparison between the color of the coal and the hair. So metaphor is the comparison between two things, or we can say that it is an indirect comparison between two things. Our next figure of speech is personification. Personification is basically giving the human qualities to a non-human or to a non-living thing. Like the leaves are dancing in the wind. The leaves are non-living thing which are dancing. Obviously human beings can dance, so here the quality of dancing which is a human quality is given to the leaves. The rock gargled. Human beings gargled, but here the quality human quality is given to the rocks. So our next figure of speech is simile. Now, a comparison between two unlike things using keywords such as like, as, similar to, or then is simile. Simile is basically also a comparison between two things, but here the comparison is direct. He is smart as a whip. She is as cold as ice. Here the comparison is made between a person and a whip, and she is compared to ice. Here there is a direct comparison, and in simile we use words like as, similar to, and like to compare anything. Our next figure of speech is oxymoron. Oxymoron is basically two directly opposite words placed together. For example, pretty ugly, bittersweet. Now here the word pretty and ugly both are directly opposite to each other, and also the word bitter and sweet, they are also exactly opposite to each other. So oxymoron is basically used for two directly opposite words. So here we come to an end of this figure of speech topic. We'll meet you in the next video. Till then, take care. Goodbye.